Hey guys, Jake Steele, Iron and Steel. This is podcast episode number 14, and thank you so much for being here. And sorry for the delay. Anybody that's used to listening to this on Tuesday morning, it's Tuesday night at the time that I'm recording this, and I'll release it tomorrow morning, Wednesday. So usually I'm recording this on a Friday or Saturday, and then I'll spend a few hours the next day, let it simmer and then revisit it, edit it, and release it on a Tuesday. So I usually have some time to make sure that it's palatable and good and all that shit. Not going to be the case with this one, so I'm just sort of winging it, and if it sucks, I don't know what to tell you. Kick rocks, I guess. So I'm going to read a quick story. It's called Hey, What Year Is It? And the premise of this story is basically, and look, I come off like a straight up dick in this article. I must have been in a mood when I wrote it, but the basic theme is, when we're out driving our cars, oftentimes we'll be approached by just normal people, non-car people, and a lot of times they want to talk about cars, but they don't have any idea what they're talking about, and so sometimes that comes off in a nice endearing way or normal way, but sometimes people are fucking annoying about it or dicks about it or just fucking weirdos. So at the time that I wrote this, that was pretty much the angle, but as just full disclosure, I don't hate engaging in conversation with non-car people necessarily all the time. It's just sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, and that was kind of the theme of this article when I wrote it. So at the end of this story, which it's sort of a quick one, I'll get into some Q&A. I had quite a few questions. I think I have 5 or 6 of them that I chose, and I'll answer those at the end of this. So ironandsteel.com is the website. Go there and click the subscribe button, punch in your email address, and you can be updated on when there's new articles, which is lately about once a week, or when there's new podcasts, which are once a week, of course, or any other content. Like for instance, the John Wayne Gacy t-shirt I just released. I haven't sent out an email blast about that, but that is available. It is currently on the website, along with some different hats and things like that I just had done. So on the subject of the Gacy shirt, looking at like the rendering and the drawing and stuff on in photos is one thing, but I'm telling you, the actual shirts themselves are fucking phenomenal. The colors, I mean, it's super fucking bitchin'. I don't know how else to say it. The colors just pop. It's straight up art. I mean, these shirts look like a piece of art. They're incredible. So a local screen printing company printed them. They're all hand printed. The red came out a little more like poppy red, kind of like an orangish red. And at first glance, I was like, oh, that's different than the rendering. And I wanted to not like it, but instantly it's really striking, the image itself. So I'm rambling, but the Gacy shirts are fucking killer. Go on the website and check out what I'm talking about. But I posted an actual photo of the shirt itself on Instagram yesterday or day before, but I'll continue to post actual images of the shirts themselves, just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. They're fucking killer. Super offensive, super stupid, hilarious, awesome, awful, all of that stuff. So again, ironandsteel.com. Those are available there, along with dozens and dozens of stories. All the content's free, so feel free to hop over there and check it out for yourself. And again, hit the subscribe button so you can be updated when there's new content, which is often. So okay, thanks again for being here. This story is called Hey, What Year Is It? The world of classic cars is not the ideal world for the introvert to live in. I can tell you this firsthand. In fact, when I really sit down to think about it, the irony makes me chuckle just a little bit. I mean, picture it. Me, a guy that just wants to get from point A to point B without being harassed, hassled, gawked at, or forced into some stop and chat scenario, often choosing to drive a shiny, nearly 100-year-old car down the street. Makes perfect sense, right? Look, I've learned to deal with it, mostly. I know that when I'm looking out the window at my regular truck and then down to the shop where my old cars live and I'm weighing the pros and cons of each option, that if I drive something out of that building, I am most assuredly going to have at least one conversation with somebody who I otherwise would not have to. Likely a non-car guy too, which happens to be my least favorite type of guy to talk to. Most often though, my desire for the connection that you only get from driving some antiquated piece of machinery outweighs the dread of having to listen to some slackjaw tell me about how their dad had one, quote, just like it. So I'm used to the dance. But there is one breed of normie that really makes me cringe. That's the "what year is it" guy. Now, what could be so bad about someone inquiring about your car, right? I mean, it's just a guy trying to connect with you. I guess so, and really, I am okay with that. I'm actually totally fine with the "what year is it" guys when push comes to shove. I am, however, less in love with these guys. Hey, what year is it? 57? Or worst yet, the guy that says nothing other than to just shout a random year at you. Nothing is less fun than getting out of your car at Home Depot and having some clown on top of you before you even get out the door, yelling, 41? At your face. It's like, look, I'm just here for some nails. Like, let's not turn this into an assault, okay? I find these guys slightly annoying. I think their only rival is the rare but insanely annoying guy who yells random makes and models at you guy. I get this a lot in my maroon 36 Ford. It goes, ready? Just like this. Hey, is that a Packard? For some reason, I do get Packard or Studebaker in that particular car, but no clue why. Anyway, it still annoys me, but I've learned over the years to let it bother me less. Depending on my mood and depending on how big of a schmuck the gear yeller appears to be, old me could have reacted in any number of ways, ranging from purposely undisguised annoyance in my reply to verbal assault or worse. One chuckle-worthy outburst I can recall occurred at a stoplight probably 5 or 6 at the time that I'm recording this, actually more like 6 or 7 years ago. And for context, I should explain that it had been a particularly long and shitty day. I wasn't in the mood for any interaction at all, but most especially for an unsolicited conversation about my car with some avid golfer type. And it went like this. Guy in an Infinity yelling out his window. Yo, that thing's tight. Strike one. Me. No reply. Infinity guy. What year is it? Strike two. Me again. No reply. Infinity guy. 44? And strike three. Me. Are you asking me if this car's a 1944? Infinity guy. Sensing maybe something amiss. Yeah. Now, it's also noteworthy to mention that all of this is happening over his fucking blaring music, which, for some reason, he did not turn down before instigating this conversation. So, me. They didn't even produce cars in 1944. What the fuck is wrong with you? A 44? Are you serious? Read a fucking book. World War II, dumb shit. Look it up. Infinity guy. Shit, man. Yeah. So, yeah, not exactly the nicest way to handle that situation, maybe, but at the time, you get the idea. Luckily, this dude was a surprisingly good sport about it, too, and probably he has encounters like this all the time, so he was just fine about it. It took me a while, but I figured out that even though these guys are sometimes mind-bogglingly annoying, at the end of the day, they really are just trying to pay you a compliment. A thumbs up is a thumbs up, even if it's accompanied by some of the stupidest fucking shit you've ever heard. One thing that we can easily forget is just how small of a world we, the car guy, live in. Most people simply don't know a Model A from a 44. They just don't. But that doesn't mean that they can't appreciate it just the same. We just have to remember, or in my case, learn, that these guys don't mean any harm with their bullshit. They just don't know any better. So, am I a reformed man? Well, you be the judge. Try this one on for size. It just happened a couple of days ago as I was getting into my car at the store. I was just climbing in when John Q. Public, who I hadn't noticed, lurking a couple of cars away, shouted, "What's that, about a 49? Just as I felt the ice begin coursing through my veins, I took a deep breath, winced, and through a forced smile, I simply replied, "Yep." I glanced over at Joe Sixpack, who was giving me an approving nod with a big thumbs up as he climbed into his Dodge Durango. He started it up and drove off, waving as he went by, happy as a pig in shit. I shut my door and sat there for a minute or two, smirking at my own reflection in the windshield glass. Then I fired up my 36 Ford and hit the road. So, yeah. I would say reformed. Okay, there you have it. Hey, what year is it? Yeah, so look, again, just to be totally transparent, I don't hate normal people, non-car people engaging conversation and, trying to find some common ground and they're just trying to pay a compliment to you and admire your car. So, if they're a total dickbag, look, tell them to fuck off. But again, they're just normally nice people trying to pay you a compliment. So even though it's annoying, I'm sure you guys experience shit like this all the time, but just try to smile and nod, and the world's a better place for it. It took me a fucking long time to learn that. And look, if you're a total creep or whatever, like, I'll probably still tell you to fuck off, but 99% of the time now I'm totally fine with it. You just smile and nod and they're happy as can be. Everybody moves on with their life, and best case scenario is they get interested in classic cars or hot rods or antique cars in some way, and it turns out to be a positive thing. So we need more of that, because I feel like every day we're losing all these hot rod guys, and we're losing even the next generation of people who are interested in these cars, and it feels like this world's getting smaller and smaller, the hot rod world. sort of every day. So my opinion now, and it took me a long time to learn this, but my opinion now is the more positive exchanges we can have with people who may have even just a tinge or a flicker of interest in these old cars, you better just grin and bear it, because they could be the, somebody that gets interested in this stuff and keeps it going. So particularly if it's a younger person, we really need to get these guys involved. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on too long. I'm going to do some Q&A stuff really quick. I had a bunch of questions come through. I chose 5 at random, and I'll just blast through those. I can't do all of them, otherwise this is going to be 45 minutes long. And I know you need to get back to doing whatever the hell you were doing. I've got to get some sleep, so we're going to blast through this, and then we will say our goodbyes for 1 week until we do it again. So question number 1 was, what is your view on European traditional hot rod scene? I don't know anything about it, and here's what I can tell you. A lot of these cars, a lot of hot rods and custom cars are making their way overseas when they're popping up for sale. A lot of guys get butthurt about that. I really don't. In my opinion, from what I've seen overseas, especially in Europe, there is a huge, thriving traditional hot rod and custom scene over there, and there are guys over there building absolutely incredible cars, and there's a lot of collectors over there. And a lot of those guys are scooping up historically significant cars, or just buying really well done hot rod and custom cars that guys here have built, and they're bringing it over there. Some people, that bothers them. I really could care less, as long as the cars are being appreciated and shared, and it's being kept, quote, alive as much as it possibly can be, whether it's here in the States or whether it's in Europe or Japan or Australia. I've sold several cars to guys in Australia. They're all just like killer fucking dudes that are really super into this stuff, and I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. As far as what is my view on the European traditional hot rod scene, I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion, other than, I dig it if they're digging it. So I think it's a good thing. We need to keep this hobby alive, whether it's here or over there. So the next question was, and there was actually 2 questions. The best 36 ever built was like basically one of the questions. The other one was, what's your favorite customized 36 Ford and why? I don't really have one specific one, but I'm very partial to the Pearson car. I think it's just a beautifully done car, and the subtleness to it, and the way that it's chopped. It's really hard to chop a 30, whether you believe this or not. Really hard to chop a 36 Ford, especially a 3-window, and have it come out looking good. There's a lot of dick bag chops out there with flat fucking roof lines and window openings that the proportions are just so screwed on. It's hard to chop one, have it look right. It's even harder to have one look exceptional. And in my opinion, the Pearson car is exceptional in every way. And in fact, when I was first talking to Brandon down at East Bay, about chopping my blue car, his first question was, what cars that I would be familiar with do you like, and which ones do you not like, and why? And the Pearson car was at the top of my list. So the best 36 ever built, I don't know. Is it my favorite customized 36 Ford? I don't know. Maybe, probably, but really, there's so many beautiful cars that were built in the 40s and 50s, custom 36s that were built, that it's hard to have a favorite. But Pearson car, definitely at the top of the list, right alongside a lot of the cars that Brandon down at East Bay is putting together. Just beautifully crafted cars. So Pearson car would probably be the top of the list, I guess, is the short answer for me. Although with the caveat that there's a fucking shit ton of really great 36 Fords. So let's see. This was interesting. Is this your career, or do you have another source of income? Yeah, if this were my career, I would be pretty fucked. So, no, I do other things. I don't want to get too far into it, but I worked in the car industry for a long time. Quit that about 7 years ago, and we started to get pretty serious about buying houses. And so at least once a year, maybe twice a year, we'll buy a house, I'll renovate it, and then we'll either sell it or turn it into a long-term rental. And so long story short, that is the quote, regular job, I guess. The car stuff, buying and selling cars or whatever, and parts, I do that. I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to do quite a bit of that because I make my own schedule. But that just kind of pays for my car addiction. So, and as far as the iron and steel stuff goes, iron and steel doesn't make a fucking dollar. I probably lose money operating this little deal. But so if you're ever buying a t-shirt from me thinking like some dickbag's getting rich off of you, I think iron and steel loses money as a business. I'm almost certain it does. So no, it's not my career. It is my passion. And writing about these cars, driving these cars, building these cars, finding them, buying them, rehoming them, everything about them, the history, talking to these old guys, all that stuff is just my passion. Doesn't pay any of my bills, but it does buying and selling cars when I'm able to, buying in bulk and getting a good deal and then selling them off one by one. That pays for like my car stuff, but so no, it's not my career, I guess is the short answer. The next question, and I guess the last question, is what will your next project be? I'm looking forward to the 3-window build. So currently building, I'm assuming you're talking about the one that I'm doing now. So 32 3-window. It is chopped. A friend of mine named Rob Benko chopped it. It's got a bitchin' chop. It's just old patina body that sat in the rafters of a barn forever, but it's on a new chassis, has a baby Hemi, Muncie, and an old rear end, and it's going to be just a straight up driver. Like, I want to drive it to Bonneville. I hope I'm not eating my words around this time next year, but I want to drive it to Bonneville, and it's just, I want to do it once. So anyway, yeah, the 3-window, that's the one I'm working on currently. The next project after that is going to be, I have a 56 Nomad that was a quote barn find, even though I hate that term, but I literally found it in a barn. And so it's an all black Nomad. That's going to be the next project, and it'll just be low with a blower motor, 4-speed, and nothing special, but it's going to be fast and nasty and wicked, and I'm going to go everywhere sideways and do burnouts, and that's it. So yeah, to answer your question, the next project is a 56 Nomad, and then the one after that I just have them like waiting, and I feel terrible about it, but then the 36 Roadster, which is will be a long-term project, and I'm hoping that East Bay will be involved in that or on that with me, but that'll be a several year deal. So yeah, to answer your question, the next project is a 56 Chevy Nomad. So anyway, that is all of the questions for this episode. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I can't believe we've already done 14 of these. Doesn't seem like a lot, but blows me away that it's been that many already. Thank you so much for being here and listening to all of these bullshit stories. And thank you to everybody that does go to the website and reads these firsthand and looks at the photos and all that stuff. And thank you to everybody that's bought merch and all that stuff. So, and again, on that subject, ironandsteel.com's website, go check out the Gacy shirt. It's pretty fucking killer. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And either way, you're going to hate it just a little bit because it's fucked up. But it's also hilarious and awesome. And the standalone, the artwork is gorgeous. And the shirts are killer. So again, ironandsteel.com, hit the subscribe button, and then you can can be updated when there's new content and new bitchin' shirts like that, which there is another serial killer themed one in the hopper right now. It's the Night Stalker, if you're familiar, if you're a serial killer weirdo. But yeah, that's coming up next. So hit the subscribe button so you can be aware when that terrible, awful t-shirt comes out. So again, thank you so much for being here, and I guess we will say our goodbyes until this time next week.